Hello and welcome to a special video edition of the Hyperion Hub. With the 4th of July right around the corner, we thought we'd get together and talk about some of our favorite Disney connections with Independence Day. I'm John Alois and I'm joined by John Redling-Schaefer.
Hello there.
And kicking us off is Sean Degenhardt. How are you, Sean?
I'm good, John. I'm excited about this. Love the 4th of July. One of my favorite Disney 4th of July things, I've never been able to be there at a park on the 4th of July, but I love watching the live stream fireworks. Fantastic fireworks at Magic Kingdom. And we're an hour behind them, so I can watch theirs and then go watch ours. So love that. Also love the Voices of Liberty. As a musician, their harmonies and presentation are just incomparable. They are fantastic.
We never miss them, yeah.
Yeah, they're wonderful. Derek Johnson is the creator of the group, and he's actually a fantastic musical director, arranger, producer that had a gospel traveling group called Regeneration, and they were hired by Disney in 1973 to do a show at Magic Kingdom called the Star-Spangled Spectacular. And then they went to Downtown Disney in 1977 for a living nativity scene. And then they premiered, they did that Star-Spangled Spectacular for about 10 years. And then they were opening day at Epcot, October of 1982. So they have been involved ever since the opening of Epcot.
That is awesome. I had no idea that they predated Epcot. So that's really cool. Great. John, how about you?
Well, there's all sorts of things that I equate with the 4th of July, but one of the most important to me, and probably someday my cardiologist, is food. And I cannot, overlook whether you walk down Main Street and you see someone with a turkey leg, just trying their best to conquer it, or over in Epcot, the Voices of Liberty there at the American Adventure. The kids have loved every cheeseburger and French fry you can get while you're there. But I'm excited, actually, to try the new barbecue joint that's going into the American Adventure, the Regal Eagle, with about 4 different barbecue sauces and dry rubs, chicken, brisket, you name it, burnt ends and baked beans. How can you get more American than that? So I have to say...
Hosted by Sam the Eagle, by the way.
Right. Mm-hmm. Oh, that's true. That Muppet Show over at Magic Kingdom is actually pretty good, too, that they've put off and on over the last year or so. But I just, walking around, taking in the smells and the sights of food that just screams Americana to me is some of my favorite experiences, and certainly when I get to sample it myself.
That's great.
And the Disney Insider, one of the most recent editions of that show on Disney Plus, went behind the scenes at the Regal Eagle. So they talked about the menu development and just the overall theming and design of that. That was really interesting.
Yeah, and how they concept a restaurant and just everything about the storytelling that goes behind everything that happens with Disney. One of my favorites, and it's a tradition in our house, is actually a TV broadcast that I recorded back in 1988, and it is the Walt Disney World 4th of July Spectacular. Have you guys ever seen this?
No.
It is spectacular. The Beach Boys are in it with Uncle Jesse, John Stamos. I think that's where they recorded Kokomo, actually, at the beach at the Grand Floridian. Lee Greenwood sings "God Bless the USA" at the Rivers of America. I mean, you cannot beat this. It's a great tradition in our household, and of course, it ends with a Star-Spangled Salute at Cinderella Castle with a giant fireworks display. It's awesome. Please try to find it.
Is that on Betamax or on VHS, John?
Ours is actually now on DVD, but you can find it if you look for it. Sean, what's your next one?
I love 1953's Ben and Me, the cartoon about the Amos the Mouse that helps Ben Franklin and Thomas Jefferson actually pen the Declaration of Independence. It's got that great early 50s animation, a lot of the same voices, Sterling Holloway, Hans Conried, the guy that was the grandpa in Parent Trap. I forget what the actor's name is, but he was the voice of Benjamin Franklin. Great score by Oliver Wallace, who wrote a lot of the music for Cinderella and Peter Pan, and just a classic.
Yeah, I love it too. You mentioned Sterling Holloway, obviously the voice of Winnie the Pooh, right? And
Cheshire Cat.
yep, and then you also said the voice of Captain Hook as well. So yeah, a great tradition. I think it's on Disney Plus. Don't quote
It's
me on
a part of the Liberty Story, which
that.
I
Okay.
think, because the Ben and Me was originally done in color,
Yeah.
but now on Disney Plus it's black and white within the scope of a Liberty Story that I think was a Sunday night show that Walt hosted.
Right, on the anthology show. You're right. John, how about you?
Yeah, using the word Liberty as kind of a nice segue, Liberty Square and walking around the old shops. There are many pictures of my children in the carriage out front there over by the Christmas shop. Columbia Harbor House is one of my favorite events. Getting back to food, no surprise. And the I guess well-known secret now about sitting upstairs, and so you can people watch all day in air conditioning and kind of hide. It's great up there. So I think overlooking the fact that the Magic Kingdom itself, sure, you have Fantasyland and you have Tomorrowland, but you also have Frontierland and Liberty Square and Main Street USA. There are parts of Americana that are buried sometimes in plain sight. And whether you have your picture taken in the prisoner flogging part there, right there, exactly, you do it well, or riding the riverboat. I mean, those are just, when you have an opportunity and you're not trying to run to your next fast pass, just look around at the sites that you see.
And look around at the ground.
Yep. Yep. And people can look that up. Unless you want to explain it.
You don't want to talk about Brown?
Oh, they can look it up themselves. Yeah.
It was
Okay.
It was conceived for Disneyland, but it never went into Disneyland. And at Disney, no idea goes away, right? They save it for wherever it can fit later. And it was part of the Magic Kingdom in 1971. And I love how the Imagineers spread antiques all throughout the land. And the three attractions there: the Liberty Bell, as you said, the riverboat. The Haunted Mansion, which I think is the best Haunted Mansion. We're missing one piece to that part, though, the Hatbox Ghost. Hopefully he comes someday. And, of course, the Hall of Presidents, which is a great show in itself as well. So great choice, John. My next one is a film from 1957 called Johnny Tremain. I hope you guys have seen this. If you haven't, yes, please. It is not currently on Disney Plus. You can request on Disney Plus some additions to the app, but otherwise you have to rent it. It's a couple bucks. It's based on a book by Esther Forbes written in 1944. It's a fictionalized story of a young boy who pretty much comes in encounter with everyone associated with the Revolutionary War, and takes place in New England in the 1770s, and it's fictionalized, but it's very well done. Robert Stevenson actually directed it. He did a ton of Disney stuff back in the 50s and 60s. Of course, did Mary Poppins. That was his greatest film. My favorite part of the movie is George Bruns and Tom Blackburn co-wrote a song called Liberty Tree, and I believe this is on YouTube. If you look it up, you'll never get it out of your head. It is wonderful.
Well,
classic
and
Disney.
the Entrada record label that re-releases a lot of recordings just last year released a new mastered Johnny Tremain soundtrack series.
I had no idea.
Yeah,
Okay.
It's wondertrack.
I think
I'll
you
be
just made John's week.
It's funny. We put together I put together a soundtrack for pretty much everything that we do, and we have a 4th of July soundtrack that we'll be listening to, and that's part of that. So hopefully I can find the master, as Sean just brought up. Any others before we go?
The last one I wanted to mention is something that we just happened to stumble on as a family as we headed out of Magic Kingdom for dinner, and that was the flag lowering ceremony that they do. I believe it's 5:00 every day, and they will select a veteran to be part of the program there right as you enter the park at the flagpole, and a nice brass ensemble there to play some patriotic and or calming tunes as they lower the flag, and a very somber ceremony as the veteran carries a very large flag down Main Street. Very moving, very quiet. In today's society, it's rare that, especially in the Magic Kingdom at times, you don't think of quiet. And it is just a very somber and moving ceremony that I hope they continue on for a long, long time.
Yeah, it's wonderful. It also takes place at Disneyland as well. Started way back. I don't know the exact history of that, but I'm pretty sure Walt probably had some sort of say in how that took place. The only other ones that I have just mentions here are the American Adventure, of course. That's one of my favorite, if not my favorite show on property. And, of course, great moments with Mr. Lincoln on Main Street USA in Disneyland. That was, I believe, the first human audio animatronic, and it was created for the 1964 World's Fair. It's gone through many iterations since then, but he delivers a classic Liberty speech, so that shouldn't be missed as well. Any others from you, Sean?
I love Hoop-De-Doo musical review, the songs of Stephen Foster. I mean, you can't get more Americana than that. It's a great, fantastic dinner show. Also, the presidential seals. You know, it took an act of Congress to get the presidential seal on the floor and the carpeting in the rotunda at the Hall of Presidents. I think there's only 3 of them existing. The one at Disneyland, and then the seal in the Oval Office, and one at the Liberty Bell in Pennsylvania.
That's outstanding. I didn't even think about that. Yeah, the one. So there's one at the Hall of Presidents.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's a great point. A new tradition that probably will at least take over our household is Hamilton is debuting on Disney Plus, and we'll be watching that. And I'm sure that we'll be watching that many times. Our family is looking forward to it. So, all right. Well, thanks, guys. That'll do it. Please, if you're watching right now, make sure you subscribe and to our YouTube page and click on that little bell so that you don't miss any of our other videos. And you can catch the Hyperion Hub wherever you listen to podcasts. Thank you so much for watching, and we hope you have a happy, safe, and a happy, wonderful 4th of July. Happy 4th of July, everybody.